What is up, Steeples? We are here to go over how to draft Monarch. That's right, Monarch, because in Dusk to Dawn and in the Nationals, at least for the US, there's gonna be Monarch drafts. Just like with Outsiders, we're gonna try to get you guys prepared up for that. In today's video, as you saw from the thumbnail and from my shirt, is Prism. We're gonna go over one of the fan favorites, so let's get right into her. Let's start off with Prism ability. She has where if you pay 2 resources, you can take a card out of your soul, banish it, and make a Spectral Shield token, which Spectral Shield tokens are pretty damn good to kind of prevent some of those big damages, as well as your weapon turns your Spectral Shields into 4 power attacks. We want Spectral Shields and we want them in the late game, but how do we get stuff in soul? Well, that's where all these damn heralds come in. I say damn heralds because they're so good, and if you're playing Prism, they feel great. If you're playing against Prism, you hate them. We're looking at 2 for 7s with on hits, going to souls, 1 for 7s even with War Tomb Herald, all sorts of on hits, whether they put cards back, whether they draw you cards, whether they make Spectral Shield tokens themselves. Heralds are the game plan if you're playing Prism. They're one of your best cards, but that's not the only cards that Prism has privy to. There's auras, right? Our Spectral Shields are auras, but then these are auras that we can play. We're talking about Genesis, we're talking about Arclight Sentinel, even some of the smaller ones like Old Wrath, Parable of Humility. All sorts of auras going on out there. So another thing we have privy to, we get the Spectra ability, which means that if we put these out and they get attacked, the turn's done. Not too shabby, because we're gonna want to be a little diversified when we draft Prism. We want to go pretty big on the heralds, but we also want to go a good amount on non-herald attacks or auras. Let's get into that, and let's get into where we want to draft these cards. So in our first early rounds, some of the key signs to determine if you should go Prism or not is heralds. If you see red heralds in particular, it's a pretty good sign that Prism is kind of open, and you should really consider being Prism for that draft. Heralds are pretty big, but you also want to kind of look for stuff that like works with big cards. So Zealous Belting, that's a common, that's a generic that can work with your heralds. Rouse the Ancients, and that's a majestic, but still works with your heralds. That's kind of what you want, because you want to have other attacks just in case Phantasm is going to be popped. At least you can threaten some damage every turn. So that's what you kind of want in your first early rounds, is big herald cards and cards that work with big cards. In the middle rounds, draft your auras. If you see some auras, they're kind of rare, so you're not going to really see a lot. But if you see 1 or 2 in the middle rounds, that's fine. Go ahead and take that. You'll need that for Levia. Go after some of those blue and yellow heralds around here. Illusionist attacks. These might not go to soul once they hit, but they're still good statted cards. So go ahead and draft them here as well. You can even draft a few reds in the early rounds. Kind of in the late rounds, just kind of draft everything else. Prism is one of the more popular heroes, so she's kind of probably going to be a 2 or even 3 of in your draft. Maybe even up to a 4, let's hope not. But she is one of the popular ones, so try to draft some light cards, some generic cards. Try to make sure you can fill out your Prism deck, because here's the real beauty about Prism, is that she's probably the easiest one to draft, and she's probably one of the easiest ones to play as well. You simply just block with 2 cards out of your hand, and then pitch 1 to come with a big herald, and then you're good. Every time you're threatening a herald, especially with these on hits, you're gravy, that's exactly what you want. Your opponents are going to have to give you some cards because they can only take 7 damage for so long. Finally, in the end game, what you really want to do is work that Prism ability, make those Spectral Shield tokens, and then start swinging with them. This is particularly good in the mirror. Keep that in mind. So if you can find stuff to put in your soul so that you can make Spectral Shield tokens at the end, that's the idea. That's Prism. That's the Blitz Edition breakdown. We'll go over more heroes, obviously, and we'll go over more how to draft Monarch in general, but right now we're just giving to you every single hero that's out there. So Prism is here. Up next will be Bolton. I'll catch you on that one. Thanks for watching.